What is going on, everyone's? You are here, and we are live with another episode of
Is My Point Valid?
Yes, indeed. I'm yours truly, Brandon D.
And I am Camille A. Stalker.
And the topic for today is going to be, what's his name?
Oh, man. Zohran Mamdani.
The Democratic Socialist potential mayor.
Right.
Out of New York City.
Yeah.
So tonight we are going to dive a little deep into who this man is, because for me, I don't know about for y'all, but for me, he came out of nowhere. I ain't never heard of this man, and I found out that he was a rapper. So he's a 33-year-old Democratic Socialist who was born in Uganda. He said he moved here when he was younger, moved to New York, and he's been there ever since. And he wants to change some things per se. And so we're going to watch a couple of videos. Some of them are of him speaking. Some are of other representatives, other creators, people like that who have their opinions. We just want to hear what people are saying about him, and we'll talk about it. So y'all live with us. Let's get into the first one.
Socialism. Terrifying word. A lot of people are afraid of the word socialism, and a lot of people have misconceptions about what it means. I'm a Democratic Socialist, and what socialism means to me is a commitment to dignity, a state that provides whatever is necessary for its people to live a dignified life. So the typical big three that we talk about are housing, healthcare, education. But frankly, if you look around in the moment of this pandemic, we see how many more things are necessary to live with a dignified life. We need our internet because we have all of our kids staying at home doing remote learning, and if you don't have internet, you can't be taught, you can't learn. Whether it's childcare, whether it's public transportation, whether it's our utilities, whether it's our housing, whether it's our healthcare, these are not things that should be up for debate. Because we see what happens when we let the market be the sole determinant of the distribution of dignity. It picks and chooses people who can survive and people who can thrive. It is up to us here across New York to make it very clear that every single one of us deserves a shot, that an injury to one is an injury to all, that our future is built on the notion of solidarity.
So that was Mr. Zohran. I don't know why I want to say Zohan. Zohan was a movie with Ben Stiller.
Yes,
that's
and
where,
I keep wanting to say
that came from.
Yeah.
But that was him and his playful definition of socialism, which really wasn't what socialism is. What you got, baby?
So
let me say this. He said during the pandemic, if you didn't have internet, you couldn't learn.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's wild.
Because you don't need the internet to learn.
No, you don't. If that was the case, there'd be a whole lot more dumb people in the world.
Is it nice to have the internet? Absolutely, because it's a convenience. But how did people do it before the technology was just booming? Right? What did we do? We read books. We had pen and paper.
Man, I remember back in the day, we used to have Encyclopedia Britannicas.
Yes.
We had the big black ones. They were level. Those was official, and they had the gold. And then we had, I think we had the children's edition, which were the white ones.
Yes,
with the blue letters on the outside.
It had, I don't know, because there were different ones. Like, I don't know, when you think about going into my mama's house and on that shelf, you see them, right? Yeah. So yeah, they're there. So yours were different. We had the brown ones.
So the fact that he said that you cannot learn without the internet, that's crazy.
But then you have to think about his age group as well. Yeah. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate. He's my age. Well, I'm a little older than him, but I still view books as like the primary source of how I get information. Yeah. So that's like, he might have been a real digital kid. I'm like, nah, I don't like it like that. One thing that he was like, he said that about the internet but I'm like, how do you fund the city? Like, you're saying poverty.
We're gonna that was
just how do you fund the city? Then he talked about dignity. And then he said
socialism is dignity.
It's dignity. Then he says that the market right now picks and chooses who they want to be in certain positions. That's not true. People have been poor and worked their way up to the position, so they're making a life choice on their own. The
market determines value,
right? So if you can work the market to your favor, then
you'll get the value
that's
out
how
of
that
it.
Works.
And as far as dignity, when I think of dignity, it's completely contrary to socialism, because up under socialism, you're trying to take from one group of people and give it to another group of people. Someone who's worked hard. Yeah, these people are billionaires and whatever. That's theirs. They worked hard for that. So why would we take more from them to give to people who aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, and
dignity is getting out there and doing the thing to get what you want out of life. And that's why we need capitalism, because without capitalism, none of the people who y'all listening to, y'all will be listening to, because it would be one voice for everyone.
So here's where I think people get why they say capitalism bad, socialism good. Well, I have this newspaper article. It's been going around for a very long time, and I've saved it however many times. So it's in my phone a lot, but it explains socialism. And so socialism, you have 2 cows. I have 2 cows, and I'm gonna just give my cow to a neighbor. I don't profit, but I give it to them. I just give it to them. And then they'll have the cow, but I don't know if they're going to kill the cow, milk the cow.
Most people don't appreciate things that you give to them.
They gave it to me, but I don't know why they gave it to me. But it can.
I don't know where the value lies.
So then capitalism is, I have 2 cows, I sell one, and I buy a bull. So I make a big, and so that's what
profit.
Right.
It's about profit.
So that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
I think it's a bad thing when you just give to people and they're not doing anything for it, and then you're making people who are selling the cow to buy the bull pay for
all the people who doing nothing and receiving
anything.
All the goods in return for nothing. They getting something for nothing. My mom used to say that. You can't get something for nothing. That turns out not to be true, because these people out here is getting a whole lot of something for nothing.
And so then communism is, you have 2 cows. You give both cows to the government and they give you some milk. So they're giving you something, but
they're not even teaching you. They're not giving you anything that you can sustain yourself with. They're bird feeding you. That's what they're doing.
And so then we have fascism, because that word just keeps getting thrown around. And that's, you have 2 cows, you give all the milk to the government, and the government sells it to whomever they want to. And you're left looking like, well, now I don't have any cows and I don't have any milk, and I have to depend on the government. And then your hand is out and saying, hey, I need that. And the government can be like, nah.
That they're saying that's what Trump is, but he's trying to give you all your stuff back.
Right. Because I was like, why are they calling him a fascist? Or why are they saying this is fascism? That's not fascism.
It's not dictatorship either. But anyway, we on Mamdani, this boy here. So I came across Valuetainment. I don't know if y'all know about them. What's his name? Alex something.
Patrick,
that's his name. My fault. I don't know why I said Alex.
Patrick
McDavid. David. Yeah, I came across him, and they made some very good points on their show. So we're gonna listen to him, tap in with him, and
mayor on the Democratic primary, Mamdani beats Andrew Cuomo. This is not something people expected. He's a 33-year-old former rapper who said a lot of weird things. He says he's going to make childcare free for everybody, buses free for everybody. There's a lot of things that's going to be given free. He's a communist. Some call him a socialist, Muslim. There's certain things that he has. They're calling New York that could be possibly the next London. New York could turn into the next Dearborn, could turn into the next Detroit. There's a lot of concerns there. It is so bad with what they're talking about with New York that even Ryan Serhant, who is the big real estate influencer, This is the type of guy that puts up properties for sale in New York for $200+ million. That's who he represents. That's who those clients want to do business with. And here's what he had to say. Luxury real estate broker says wealthy New Yorkers are already looking to flee after Zohran Mamdani's primary win. Rob, if you can go to the next page on that Instagram post. Within minutes of Zohran Mamdani clinching the Democratic nomination Tuesday night, real estate agents like Ryan Serhant were flooded with calls from clients looking to walk away from deals to buy apartments in New York City. So imagine I made an offer on a property that I'm buying 5, 10, 15, 20, $30 million. I'm like, I'm out. We're in the middle of it. Imagine a realtor's about to make $200,000 in commission, $50,000 in commission, $400,000 in commission. We're out. We're not doing this. This is not a good investment if this takes place. If you want to go to the next slide, Rob, if you could on that Instagram post. My number one job, he says, will be moving people from New York to Florida. Again, based on the results, clients are going to hold off on making any kind of investment in New York City. By the way, he does not benefit from saying this. You guys understand, like his business is New York business. He doesn't benefit from saying something like this. He wants people to stay in New York to do well, but at the same time, it benefits him as well if people leave because they're buying and selling. Rob, if you want to go to the last slide, if there is one. Okay, so this is from Ryan Serhant. Now, why are so many business owners, entrepreneurs concerned about what's going on here with Mamdani? Rob, can you put up the video clip about Mamdani winning and what happened there with the primaries? This is Eric Adams, okay, Mayor Eric Adams, who says, you know, all the claims that Mamdani is making of what he's going to do to New York, he can do today if he really wanted to. Rob, go ahead and play this clip.
Mayor, it's not just defund the police, this candidate, Democratic Socialist. He wants to freeze the rent. He wants city-run grocery stores, social workers to replace the police because that's going to help. He wants $60 billion in debt fund for affordable housing. He wants free buses, no cost for childcare, baby baskets for newborn, and a $30 minimum wage. How can someone vote for this?
He's a snake oil salesman. Mm-hmm. He will say and do anything to get elected. Think about this for a moment. He wants to raise 1%. He wants to raise tax on 1% of New Yorkers' high-income earners. As the mayor, you don't have the authority to do that. You know who has the authority to do that? An assemblyman, which he is. He wants to do free buses. He could have done it at assemblyman.
There you go.
He doesn't understand the power of government and how you must making sure you improve your economy, raise the standard of living, and this is what we've done in the city. And I'm looking forward to being on the campaign trail and showing New Yorkers we can't go backwards.
Now, here's what's interesting. Vinny, you're somebody that lived in New York for quite some time. Mamdani's running as a Democrat.
Yes.
Eric Adams is running as an independent. Chris Awila is running as a Republican. When you see this happening in New York, one, how do you feel about Mamdani? Do you think his chances are high that he could possibly win, or do you think Mayor Adams is going to come back and win?
Well, first of all, on Tuesday we were talking about it, and we were like, yeah, he's winning. Cuomo has no point, but just to add a couple of more things that he's previously called for: abolishing NYPD, abolishing prisons, abolishing medical bills, abolishing private health care insurance, banning all guns. I want you guys, even though New York is pretty strict, legalizing sex work, safe injection sites. Because that works in San Francisco, right, Tom?
Perfect. Yeah, nothing.
Y'all hear this, right?
Basically, he's like, let people do whatever they want to do. Like, it doesn't matter if you did something wrong. So then this is okay. This is not to be ugly, but then you look at Muslim countries and how they run and what they believe in.
And he's trying to bring that here.
And so forget Christianity, forget your basis of God. Let me do what I'm going to do because this is what I believe. And as Americans, we shouldn't be rocking with that.
No, we shouldn't.
I like that. I like that.
An ATM for crack. Yeah, an ATM machine for crack. Ending cash bail, decriminalizing drug possession, ending sentencing enhancements, and ending all cooperation with ICE. So meaning the sanctuary city thing, they want nothing with ICE to have to do with it. I personally, Pat, I'm not a fan of it. And just the pool of leadership from New York, I know I mentioned on Tuesday, but what the hell is going on? Number one. Number two, all the people that are fleeing, is that like, do you just give up and do you bounce? Why don't those people, Pat, who have money, donate and help and try to fund and support the opposition, because we talked about and we warned people. Look at what's.
So now that he said that, 50 Cent is actually willing to pay money for him to drop out of the race. So I'm sure he's willing to pay money for the opposition. So I think I think he's just blindly saying this.
Right.
I think there are people out here willing to pay for the opposition, because what he's trying to do, it makes no sense. How you going to decriminalize sex work? You're going to decriminalize. He wants to decriminalize everything. He wants the criminals on the streets. Mm-hmm. He wants these murderers going to the same places that you're going on a regular basis. Free buses, free everything.
He made a statement about violence that really didn't make any sense. I'm trying to figure out. He said violence is an artificial construct, and I don't know what that means. But the gist of what he means is
let the criminals die.
Basically. Like, how is it an artificial construct if you are committing a crime and it is a crime that should not be committed? You need to be right. Like, what are we talking about?
There has to be consequences to actions, and he's calling for no consequences to none of your actions.
And then if you defund the police and you say these violent people are out on the street, who protects us? Who protects New Yorkers?
He said he wants the social workers to be. Do you know how bad it is for COs in doggone prisons? Just think about this. How easy it will be to manipulate a social worker that is policing the neighborhood.
Hey, come here. Beat up, shot, killed. No, that's not. We don't.
Just random social workers. They ain't trained for. They just social workers. We're going to come talk to the people out here killing people. We're going to come talk to you.
Also, freeze rent. So if there's no rent coming in,
the money,
where's money coming from? I know.
And like he just said, he wants to, his whole plan rides on the fact that he's going to raise the taxes for the 1%. If the 1% but don't participate in his foolishness, then who's paying for everything that he's proposing?
Then the city fails.
And that's why they say it's going to become a Detroit, a London, where it's just crime everywhere. He said he wants to eliminate guns. People can't protect themselves.
Right. If you give up your guns, because that's always been a big thing. If you give up your guns and the government has your guns, how do you protect yourself?
You don't. You waiting on them to try to protect you.
How do you protect yourself?
That's crazy.
Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. That is your right. You can do this. Well, we're in Texas, but but that is you have the right to bear arms. And these people, that man is telling you, hey, let's defund the police. So there's no protection for you. Hey, there's the violent criminals out. So you get whatever happens to you. And then if I have your guns, you can't protect yourself. Then rent, and then the grocery store,
community grocery stores. I don't understand. We're gonna let them make it on that. We're gonna go to the next video. So he speaks about socialism, and he's giving it in this socialism type of light. But there are people who actually live through this. And in this next video, there's going to be 2 refugees who escaped socialism to come here to capitalism so they could thrive in life. Because what Peter say? Hold on, I got you, Peter.
If the city fails, his constituents will be happy. They have a bizarre disdain for anyone who works hard and accomplishes things. That is
absolutely
crazy. I'm reading a book right now called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. And this is kind of the thing. Like, this man is working hard. He's doing the thing. But you have this group of people who was stopping him from doing the thing, and they
hate when you do the
weird,
thing.
Like, and you're accomplishing, and it's beautiful, and you're working hard. Like, why don't you like to see people work hard? Where is the disconnect in that? Why don't you want people to accomplish things on their own and be like, hey, man, that was good. I'll hire you to do what you did. You know what? Where is that disconnect?
We ain't even in the business of hiring people to do the way they do.
That is so interesting.
Oh, shout out to Susan from SC, South Carolina.
Yeah.
How you doing? Appreciate you. But let's get back into it. The two refugees who just recently did an interview. Where's she at? Where he at?
And a lot of people who come from socialism, communism. Oh, you got it.
I got it. Okay.
That come to America, they tell you how terrible it is that they can't. That's why they came here. And so I don't understand how people are like, well, socialism sounds good, because eventually socialism goes into communism, which
and then you got nothing. But they're going to explain it to you how fast it got ugly.
Well, it's getting fast. It's getting ugly fast. It's getting fast.
It's getting fast.
Who've lived through the horrors of socialism and communism. New Hampshire congressional candidate Lily Tong Williams and Manhattan Institute fellow Daniel DiMartino. Great to see both of you. Lily, what do you say to Zohran Mamdani, who is the Democrat now running for the mayor here? Or what do you say to people who vote for socialism?
Well, the people who vote for socialism are the ones who never lived it, who never suffered from the hunger and poverty and the lack of freedom and police state. So those people should be educated about history better. That's failure of our American education system. Our kids don't know the history, and they bought into free stuff provided by government. That's how Mao sold the socialism, communism to millions Chinese, and the millions of them starving to death by his central planning socialist policies. So I'm running because I don't want this country become the country I left. And I don't want anybody to take away my gun rights. That's God-given rights. I will never compromise.
I love it. Well, Danielle, I want to ask you something that I'm really perplexed about, and it's not only young people that are gravitating towards the AOCs and the Mamdanis of the Democrat Party, but I'm rather perplexed and confused why white, I call them overly educated liberals. When you look at the breakdown of this Democrat mayoral primary in New York City this week, you're not necessarily seeing the working class. You're not seeing black voters, Hispanic voters. You're not seeing them showing out necessarily for Mamdani, but you're seeing the white liberals, and those are the ones that were celebrating, cheering up and down for him. You got to help me understand, what is it about that group of people that makes them cheer so ferociously for socialism?
They some fools. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you all, and thank you for having me. Good to see you all again. Look, what really concerns me about this is what you said, Tommy, that it is really highly educated young people who turned out for Mamdani. And it is really not shocking, because I went to Columbia for my PhD, and I saw it myself. People there are the most supportive of socialism. And the reason is because of our colleges here in America. That was one of the most shocking things I saw when I first came to America in 2016, was that it was higher education that was captured by Marxists. And so what happened in Venezuela, that people voted for a socialist regime, unlike in China or unlike in the Soviet Union, can clearly happen here too. And Mamdani might not be able to turn New York City into Caracas because he's mayor and not tyrant, but the point is Americans are willing to vote for someone like him. And today is New York City, tomorrow is the rest of America.
Well, his campaign, he's the child of a famous film director, and his campaign is definitely kind of social media managed. It has that kind of film of like a filter over it. He always tilts his head to seem more endearing when he's on camera. Daniel, doesn't that have something to do with it?
I think he's extremely charismatic, and that's why he's extremely dangerous. I think he lies even when he smiles. I mean, I have very strong opinions about him. His middle name is actually after the dictator of Ghana, not some civil rights leader, but somebody who was named president for life. And so he's friends with the Democratic Socialists of America. That's who trained him. This is an organization that regularly sends people to meet with the dictators of Cuba and Venezuela. He does not want to make New York City into Scandinavia. He wants to make us into Venezuela. The question is whether we will let him. It's whether Americans will let these socialist ideas take over.
Lily, I know that you have fled horrible conditions, and so many immigrants like yourself, they're saying the same thing that you are. Listen, don't make America like the place that I fled from. Now, this is New York City. Obviously, it's deep blue. How concerned are you that other places, maybe not as deep blue as New York City, are going to follow this example? And do you think this is going to be the way that the Democrat Party trends?
Yes, I have seen the radical left wing of Democrat Party took over their voter bases, and that's one of the tactics they use. They use cultural Marxism, identity politics to divide and conquer. They control the media, social media, and schools, and cultural institutions, like take over some churches and nuclear families, and get the kids against their parents and walk away to authority figures. Those are very similar to what I saw under Mao's Cultural Revolution. That's why I'm warning people that we don't want to go down that way, because they sell you free stuff to get you buy into it. Once they totally disarm you and silence you and install police state, destabilize our country, then you will lose all your natural rights guaranteed by the founding fathers in the documentation called the independence, our Constitution.
Lily Tong Williams and Daniel DiMartino, great to see both of you. Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you for having us.
You could tell she was passionate about that
because she lived through the China communism. And we if you ever read Animal Farm, and you read at the beginning how the farmer wasn't taking care of the animals, but then they come with the group the animals come together, and then they make out these rules. So we have the Bill of Rights, right? But eventually the pigs were coming up with, well, yeah, it says this, but, and they kept adding to it, and then they were cross out and everything. And so the animals didn't know, because they were blindly following the pigs and what was said. And so one animal, was the horse, she kept looking like, yeah, but number 3 said. And then maybe she would have somebody read it to her and said, yes, but this has been added to it. So they're trying to subtract the Constitution. And then she was saying, how they get the children. It's really, and it is people my age too, which is quite startling. It's older people as well because of the idea, but they're getting these children in college. So we talk about morals and values and the family foundation, and you get single parent children who have come from single parent homes who get into college who don't have a foundation. They just been, hey, I got into college, I'm gonna get my 4-year degree, but then they find something that they hook onto, and it's socialism. Did you know that, what she say, identity politics? Yeah. Like, did you know that with black people is, hey, did you know that the white people did this to you?
They hold you back.
Like you have to, you have to. And then you have with white people, you have, hey, you oppressed these people, but you didn't. So then they're playing those two against you. And then you're like, hey, there's something better for everybody, and here's how we do it.
Yeah.
But at the end, you giving up everything, right? And you can't capitalize on it because there's nothing to capitalize off of.
Because ain't nobody doing nothing. We're just taking from somebody to give it to somebody. We robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And then what do you do when you don't have it anymore? What she say? It's hunger, and it's poverty,
mass hunger.
And what do you do? Well, you have to try to escape. Well, if we are the greatest country, then where do we go?
Everyone is trying to escape here, and we turn into socialists.
What happens to the world?
Where everybody gonna go then?
That's that global agenda.
Yep. That's what they're trying to do to us. Let's get into I think it's Byron Donalds. Matter of fact, We're going to listen to a guy who I think he was on the campaign trail with him. He's probably a friend or somebody. Y'all know about Abby Daniels from CNN. We're going to watch a clip of hers and listen to with both sides of how people feel about Mamdani. So let's get into that. Mr. Mamdani.
Upset, and one that could change the political landscape throughout the entire country for years. Democrats are trying to figure out how to navigate Zohran Mamdani's unexpected.
The Democrats don't even know how to act. You know it's crazy. They even like, where did this fool come from?
Where did he come from?
Where did he come from?
Have y'all heard of him before? And this reminds me of kind of like Barack Obama. I had never heard of him, and he just slid in.
Joy Reid was on the Breakfast Club, and she gave up the game. She was like, the problem with the Democratic Party is they get this one person, and they put everything behind it. They find these people, and like the woman was saying, they find them in schools,
right?
And they bring these people up. That's what they did with Barack Obama.
Kamala.
They found him at school, found her at school, and brought him up.
Right.
So then, even with the BLM girl, Patrice Cullors, I find you in school when you're vulnerable. I teach you what I need to teach you in order for you to swindle everybody else.
So in a sense, that is grooming them to be in politics. This is what you have to do to win the people. You gotta be suave. You gotta look good. You gotta be your appearance and everything.
You gotta be endearing.
And we can see that people fall for that too.
Oh yeah.
And so it's not really just about what's coming out of your mouth. It's also about how you look, how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
I also read he just recently got married. So that looks good to people,
He's
right?
a family man.
Right. He's a family man. He's an only child. Both of his parents, his dad was a professor. His mama, was a
he's the American dream.
And so an only child.
But ain't nobody give him that stuff. They work for that. But he wants to take and give now for some reason. But we're going to go ahead and get into this video.
Victory in New York City's mayoral Democratic primary. Does the party need to move further to the left? How do they capitalize on the enthusiasm he generated, even if they don't agree with his platform? The strategy for Republicans is pretty clear, though. Paint him as the standard and not an outlier of the party. The National Republican Congressional Committee posted a picture of Mamdani with 3 vulnerable New York Democrats, and they wrote this: every single Democrat now owns Mamdani's radical socialist agenda. Now, it's worth noting that none of these 3 Democrats actually endorsed Mamdani. In fact, Congresswoman Laura Gillen was not happy with the primary results. She wrote that he's too extreme and the absolute wrong choice. Joining us is former New York Congressman Jamal Bowman, who was with Mamdani last night. Jamal,
they all got that same weird smile.
Did you see that?
I'm about to show it to you right now.
Strange. How you doing?
All of them, they do that. Watch.
It's a big moment for New York, but is it something that is actually able to be extrapolated beyond the city, which is in a pretty unique moment? He's an immigrant who's in a city facing anti-immigrant, policies from the federal government. There's an affordability crisis. There's a lot going on here.
Yes, he's the perfect person to respond in this moment to not just a crisis in the city as it relates to immigration affordability, but the fact that the Democratic Party is on life support right now with an approval rating of about 20-something%.
So they'll take anything.
That's basically, and instead of trying to.
That's why they'll push behind Jasmine Crockett as well. Right now, they are scrounging for a leader. They'll take anything. Anybody who is charismatic and that can deliver well. If they could find another Barack Obama, they would find him.
They thought they had it in Kamala.
They thought they did until the people was like,
They thought, but she wasn't as smooth talking.
She wasn't. She wasn't as relatable. She wasn't nothing like
all of these people. They're actors.
Absolutely.
They are paid actors.
They've been brought up to be this way.
They are paid actors. They have a script that and then I'm going to say this, it might make some people upset. Why is he the face, right? So black people see this black man supporting Mamdani. And say, hey, okay, yeah.
We're supposed to rally behind it.
Once again, the identity politics. What does it look like? Who's supporting him?
And we're going to get a little bit further into the identity politics in the next couple of videos, but y'all stick around.
Thank you.
So as we talk about bringing excitement back to politics.
Why does politics need to be exciting?
No, y'all need to be working for us and what we
we don't need excitement. It's just like y'all be talking about in the church. We need a performance. No, say, just give me the real. That's all I want. The truth. I don't need it to be dressed up. If I want to go to the circus, I go to Barnum and Bailey's. Doggone Universal Circus. I don't need it out of politicians. I need y'all to be for real. We don't need to be exciting. Just be for real.
In democracy, his campaign inspired New Yorkers across the city. Turnout was much higher this election than in 2021. Young people, first-time primary voters, made up 25% of the turnout, and he crushed a political dynasty.
In the next couple of videos, we're going to also, they talk about the numbers. The video with Byron Donalds, they talk about how right here he's saying that it was a big turnout.
Yes.
They're going to talk about the numbers that are contrary to that. They're lying.
You know, they have
to give some big grandstand, and it don't be real.
And
see how he looking.
And so we should lean into that excitement. And we should do everything we can to learn from what he and his campaign did, which was exceptional, and see how it can be replicated in other parts of the country. Now, let me say this. New York is a special place. Incredible diversity of people, ideas, working class, etc.
Y'all know in every movie, like disastrous movie, New York is the place. It's like New York and California are the places that will go under first, or like that will collapse.
They trying to help it go under.
That's strange.
Because it's New York and it's California. The worst places to be right now.
That's Gavin Newsom and now
Mamdani. I hope y'all don't put that boy in there, man. Y'all gonna be in for it. But yeah.
But when we talk about economic populism, he ran on affordability. Everyone's trying to afford to live. And so it's absolutely something that we should try to benefit from as a party and as a country.
Yeah.
Giving away free everything
makes it affordable. That is not, and that's like you're pulling people's legs because we know that in New York it is a higher cost of living.
Absolutely.
It is
I don't think if you don't make a certain amount of money, I don't think you should be in New York.
Right.
I don't think you should be in California. You need to go to New Mexico.
So those are places where it's very, very expensive to live. So yes, I understand that people do want the affordability, but at what cost are you willing to be like?
And then, like we said, how are you going to fund this?
Right.
When the very people that you want to tax more are ready to
they already see the plan. Like, you ain't using my money for that. Because it's their money. They earned it.
Why y'all say, I remember when pocket watching was a bad thing. Y'all watching people's pockets.
Real hard.
Y'all out here watching people's pockets.
I know how much they got.
Straight up.
I know how much their company is worth. Yeah, the company is worth that much. That like,
even if they are worth that much, it don't matter. They work for that.
That's theirs.
That's the system that we're in. If you get out of there and do the work, then maybe you get the same results.
All right.
Maybe. As we proceed.
I mean, so I want to talk about the policies in a second, but just for a moment, what you're talking about, kitchen table issues and a candidate that has a personality, like a pulse, right? Like that matters. And it seems like that worked pretty effectively for him in this race. He just was focused on saying he's going to make things more affordable for people, which, you know, the candidate of no taxes on tips and no taxes on Social Security understands.
Well, I think it was more than just trying to make things affordable. I mean, he's embraced, a $30 government enforced minimum wage. He's basically embraced the government taking over grocery stores in New York. He's embraced legalizing sex workers. I mean, New York is a unique place. That's true. If Democrats want their numbers to go below 20%, they should keep following this guy. I think it's good for Republicans. But I think, Abby, to your point, what's disturbing is I feel like the economic nationalism isn't just limited to the Democrat Party. Today, Republican senators have proposed a national minimum wage. Republican senators have proposed caps on credit card fees. These are not traditional free market ideas. These are ideas that both parties are flirting with of a much bigger government intervention into our economy.
Which seems to suggest that voters actually are interested in that.
I don't want to take anything away from Mamdani in terms of, I think the word you used, inspired, is the accurate word. He did inspire, certainly, and engage the youth. He had incredible social media presence in a way that nobody else in that race could match, and got him views and volunteers and votes. But let's not also forget that he was running against Andrew Cuomo, who I'm sorry, is damaged goods. He's saddled with incredible political baggage. This is a man who has 13 accusations of sexual harassment against him and a scandal involving the nursing homes, which got a lot of play in New York State, including New York City. I have a lot of friends who told me they could not.
So they're voting for him because they didn't want to vote for the other guy.
I mean, it's slim pickings, but it's still
bring themselves to vote for Cuomo because of those allegations, women friends in particular. So is it a wake-up call for the Democratic Party? Absolutely. And I think Governor Hochul and I think Chuck Schumer need to be paying close attention what's going to happen in their primaries. I think anybody thinking of running for president in the Democratic Party needs to learn about how to engage the young people, how to inspire a base. But also, maybe, just maybe, running somebody with the kind of baggage, an albatross around his neck that Cuomo has, also not a perfect dynamic.
Mamdani at the moment is still sort of like the fresh kid on the block, but very quickly this is going to get, I mean, it's already gotten pretty negative. It'll get even more negative. I mean, there's an old post from his on Twitter in 2020 where he says, what we need is to defund the NYPD, no to fake cuts, defund police. That's just one thing. And he talked about some of the other policies around government subsidized grocery stores, which I don't think is like every grocery store, just certain ones that the government subsidizes for people in need. But nonetheless,
I just think that there are very few people in New York or around the country who don't think groceries are too expensive, that childcare is too expensive, that rent is too high, or that transportation is too cumbersome, right? And so I think people resonated with that, and on top of that, a positive vision, and he was a charismatic candidate. And of course, the Cuomo thing is a consideration. The thing that I think is important to note, though, as someone who was chief of staff to a mayor for 4 years, the most stressful part of the year is budget season. Because in order to do those kind of things that you want to do, to deliver the government services, you need revenue. And in New York, 50% of the revenue comes from business-related taxes, right? So you have to be thoughtful about how you engage the business community and not completely alienate them, or else you're going to lose that valuable revenue for the services that you want to deliver.
Well, Abby, I'm a Californian, and I get in the front row seat to what happened in this campaign, and I've seen a lot of these issues in California already. We saw them at the national basis when Kamala Harris was running, what they used against her, the issues that some of Mamdani's talking about. But New York is a different place, and it's new. I mean, but we've seen this before. Ocasio-Cortez beat Joe Crowley. He was a 20-year incumbent House Democratic chair. She beat him. Very charismatic. We know she can speak very, very well. Happened here again. But when you go down the line and you start talking to people and you say freeze rents, free bus rides, high taxes on millionaires, free childcare, city-owned grocery stores. I mean, I've been to city-owned grocery stores in Havana, Cuba. You don't want to go to those. Minimum wage, $30 an hour. I can go on and on and on. Those are issues that are tough. I don't see it.
It sounds pretty good to a lot of people.
I think we have to distinguish between the things that are free childcare. universal child care is not controversial. Let me just be clear. Like, we walk down the street and ask New Yorkers whether they support universal child care. That is not controversial. So you're going to have to distinguish between some of the other things that are more controversial and the ones that are really not.
100%. And when you talk about taxing the wealthy.
Okay, so let's talk about free childcare, because that free, and throwing free out there, because some way, somehow, that means that taxpayers' money. So if we want
somebody
to be
paying for
taxpayers' money, or the rich are still going to have to pay for it. Now, is it the government's job to pay for childcare? It's a question. Because
didn't nobody tell you to have
that, and that would be my argument, right? And then that means that you are, dang, how do I say this? Because like, there, like, my view of looking at it is, if you have children, from the basis of it, if you have children, there should be a mother and father, right? And then there should be children. We know that's not reality, but there are a lot of single parents that are raising children and that need help. Yes. But then there's that thing of, well, let's like protect ourselves from right now from having children so that we can focus on, hey, let's build up ourselves and all these things. So I think this is a strong opinion that I have. I think that you relying on government or saying we're going to take from the rich, I think that's a cop out from you working hard to do the thing that you need to do. And that's what I feel that this is. And so you're defending it.
All right. So hold on. Let me see. In 1980, the top 1% paid 70%. Today is 23%. So what? Why are you worried about what the rich are paying?
The rich make their money off us. How do they make their money off
us? They create jobs for us.
Right.
They the ones that get they help grow the economy. Where do you think your job comes from if there was no rich people?
And then only 7% of the budget goes to the social programs. So with these social programs, like what do we do? If we see that these social programs aren't working, shouldn't we
just keep throwing money into them?
Yeah, right. Shouldn't we like stop being dependent on the government so much? Like even with public school, like that's government funded. Well, it's taxpayer money, but they're not good.
Explain to me how the rich make money off of us.
So then we're looking at public schools, right? And we're saying, okay, well, the public schools, we send our children there, but they're not learning. Then we have public universities. Well, we're sending our children there and we're paying for their college, but they're not learning. So what do we do as the citizens? What do we do? Why can't we create jobs where, okay, there's this amount that you need to pay for us to watch your child. Well, there's daycares, right? Why? Like, so that shuts down daycares that like people have to labor. They have to work. I don't understand, because that's how jobs work.
Don't go to work. That's what you do. Just don't go to work. They're not forcing you to work.
Like the free buses. I mean, what's wrong with having, buying the Metro card and you paying the $1.25? Like
the problem is this.
I don't get it.
Y'all want free stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all hear free and y'all ears get to wrangling and tingling and y'all be like, oh, I want that. I don't want nothing free. I don't need for you to take from this person to give to me. I don't want that.
Then
I don't want no reparations.
Then I just had an idea. So if we depend on the government, is the government going to give you the best? Like right now, right? We can walk into Walmart, we can walk into Target, we can go to any grocery store and we can get the brand that we want. With this plan that Mamdani is saying, will we be able to, have the Honey Nut Cheerios, the real Honey Nut Cheerios? Or is it going to be like government cheese? You know how people be like, what are we... That I don't know.
You work for a corporation that used to pay really well in the 80s, but they lowered the pay, stopped pensions and healthcare. You speaking to me directly?
No, right.
In general.
Yes.
What jobs lowered the pay?
You said you work for a corporation that used to pay really well in the 80s, but now they've lowered the pay. So then that's when you have to get up and move away from that corporation, and then you go find you something else. Or if you're good at what you do, then you create your own business, and then you would hire people to do a better job at what they do.
I think we're a little bit too focused on jobs.
You said the job stopped taking care of their employees.
My job takes real good care of me.
Oh, your job, you offer pay for those things. Right, but then they still do offer. I mean, it's what job you go into and a career too.
That's what I'm about to say. So you have jobs and then you have careers. We need to stop worrying about jobs, because jobs are what teenagers do. That's what entry level work is. When you have a career, that means you have a skill. When you have a skill, there's certain things that come with that. I don't have to worry about all these. I get benefits. My benefits are great. Even though I'm paying for them, I mean, so what? That's what it is. I understand how the system works and I work with the system.
And then if you don't like that system, then that's when you have the free will to create whatever it is you want. Like right now, you can be an entrepreneur. You can build any type of business. They still offer it today in companies. It's still offered.
You get union jobs, all of that. It's still available.
A lot of people just don't talk about it, but it's still offered.
I'm going to tell you, I tell people about trades all the time. They don't listen. You get all the benefits, all the 401ks, the doggone, the stocks, everything. You get all of these things, but people don't listen. They would rather go drive a forklift and make $11 an hour, and that's what it is. So I think we're looking at things subjectively. We need to look at the bigger picture. These things are available. People are not taking these opportunities.
Yeah, I say you should care because they have increased their wealth off you.
No, they didn't.
They built their company. And the company does well from what they do.
You work for money. You have workers to pay to get stuff done.
Right, yeah.
I don't understand where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
What are we not understanding here? If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can find something to do. But at the end of the day, you know you need to make money. But
back to it.
We're gonna get back to this video.
The wealthiest Americans a little bit more, which comes to about $20,000 additional dollars for each of the wealthiest Americans, raising us billions of dollars to invest in universal child care, invest in fast and free busing, et cetera, et cetera. This is something that working class people want to hear. Billionaires have been getting off scot-free for many, many years. Also let me just say one thing. Mamdani is just not a pulse. I know you didn't mean it that way. And Ocasio-Cortez is not just
what I meant was that he has a pulse.
He has a pulse, yes.
He has energy.
Yeah, correct. And I want to be very clear. AOC is a superstar. Zohran Mamdani is a superstar. He's exceptional.
Okay, we're talking about politicians. We're not talking about like basketball, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Those are superstars, right? They're good at what the heck they do. Of course, I want them to be good at what they do, but I want them to really I just don't see how, because what they fall under is Bernie Sanders. And when Bernie ran in 2016, a lot of young people, my age again, a little bit older than me, were like, feel the burn, right? Bernie is the guy, because Bernie Sanders is a Democratic Socialist. Mm-hmm. And so the same thing that he has been saying all these years, well, AOC falls under that. Now we have Mamdani falling under that. So there is a thing there. And so for a long time, Bernie is never going to come out and say, well, I believe in socialism. So they disguise it with this Democratic Socialist. It is social. It is socialism, because you are saying, hey, yeah, once again, that cow, I have 2 cows and I just give it to you. But what are you gonna, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah. Let's get back into it. It's only a few more seconds.
The Dream campaign against Cuomo were exceptional. So they ran an exceptional campaign with an exceptional candidate. That is scalable. You could take that anywhere across the country and compete against any of the top Republicans.
Can I disagree with you
and
on that for a second?
destroy them.
I'm glad they stopped right there.
Yeah, she said, can I disagree with you?
Because
like he said, they're superstars.
How? What does that mean?
These people are people, and they're trying. And like, here's the thing. I want to be very clear. I understand what the goal, that what they're saying that they want to do, because they're seeing that there is a problem and they're trying to find a solution. The Democratic Socialists are trying to find a solution. Democrats are trying to find a solution, and the Republicans are trying to find a solution. So there's 3 different solutions that are trying to be given. Mm-hmm. And we as the citizens have to choose what would work for us. But if you know anything about socialism, then you could be like, and then you have people from other countries who are saying, hey, this doesn't work. Or you're looking at Cuba, you're looking at communist countries, and you're saying, well, man, that's not good. Well, that can't be here. And that's all I'm saying. Everybody's trying to find the right thing to do. And I ain't with that. Right? If you believe that is correct, I don't want that. And I'm not even a New Yorker.
Straight up. But like he just said, they plan on scaling this.
Right. Yeah.
So they want it to be across the board. But no, I don't think you're going to have, we ain't having that in Texas. My boy, you had to leave that up there in the North. South ain't having that.
Don't take it to the North.
Don't even introduce that to us.
Right.
Yeah. We don't want that.
Yeah.
But we're going to go ahead and get into Byron Donald's opinion of the whole situation. He did an interview on Fox, I believe it was. But go ahead and check that out.
Florida Congressman Byron Donalds was raised in that fine borough of Brooklyn, New York, and he joins us now. Congressman, great to see you. I will just note that lower income Democrats in New York voted against that Nepo baby phony by 13 percentage points versus Cuomo,
Did you see
who, again, has his own.
Did y'all see how the girl in the green looked at her after she said that? Like, girl, I know you didn't say that on.
She did call him a Nepo baby. Wow.
I know you didn't say that on live TV, girl.
That's crazy, because I'm looking like I know you didn't say that on live TV.
She gonna say it again, though.
Own problems. And black New Yorkers voted against that Nepo baby phony by 18 percentage points. Not everybody's on.
She was ready.
Now,
for that.
boy, the dude with the smiley face on the last video said that they turned out for this man. Somebody lying. Somebody ain't telling the truth. As we proceed.
Board, but boy, those liberals in the Lower East Side and the East Village sure love what he's peddling.
Well, Dagan, tell everybody how you really feel. Look, here's the reality. This guy does not understand how economics truly works. He has a radical ideology where he thinks the government can just raise taxes with impunity, spend money with impunity, and everything is going to be okay. Look at his idea around this thing about the city of New York setting up grocery stores. That is a failure. It will never work. The city of New York and cities around the country used to do this decades ago. Before food stamps, cities were directly giving out food. The federal government was directly giving out food. People forget government cheese. Listen, when I was a kid, I was...
Say, man, if y'all don't know about that government cheese...
I don't know about it.
I know about it. Y'all don't want that.
I have no idea.
Boy, you could put a lighter on that joint and it still won't melt.
Really?
It just turns black.
What?
That government cheese ain't nothing to play with, man. For real. We don't want that. We don't want no community funded dog.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like right now, we could go buy and you know
get what you want.
You could get whatever you want. You won't have a say.
They trying to give you, and that's what that was. The government cheese. You couldn't get any other cheese. They would give you this. Mm-hmm. This is the cheese that you take. Mm-hmm. This is the bread that you take. Mm-hmm. This is the canned foods that you take. Mm-hmm. It was no selection.
Like you can't get Del Monte.
No, ain't no Del who?
Del Monte.
No, we ain't in.
You can't get your seasonings that you want. You can't get McCormick.
No, ain't none of that.
See, I was on government cheese. I was on government peanut butter. Let me tell you, it was.
You had the peanut butter as well?
That gonna clog up your whole system.
I mean, I like peanut butter.
That junk there will
can't get
clog
Peter Pan.
Your whole no. It was I forget what it was called, but it'll clog up your system. You be in the bathroom toe up.
Oh no!
Awful.
Yes.
Nobody wanted it. So the government transitioned to food stamps, which is now SNAP. And by the way, there are a lot of reforms on Capitol Hill that need to go into those packages. Yep. But the reason the government made the transition is because when the government decided to actually give out the product directly, it was an abject failure. That's why poor people in the city of New York are saying, this guy's a fool. I'm not voting for it. This is why people who work hard day in, day out, busting their hump, trying to make ends meet are saying, I don't want any parts of this. But if you're sipping lattes at your brunch, like Mr. Winklevoss says, you think this is A-OK.
You know, Congressman, I think there's a lot of New Yorkers right now eyeing, moving down to Florida where you're running for governor. I live as well. But what I'm trying to figure out, Congressman, and I love your insight into this. I mean, New York City is one of the most liberal cities in America, one of the most liberal cities in the world. So is this instructive of where the Democrat Party is going just in liberal New York, or more broadly speaking, as a party?
Well, I think they have a real issue. They really don't know where they want to go. You have somebody like Mamdani who caught lightning in a bottle and excited a portion of the Democrat base. It looks like you have Democrats who are more on the establishment side who want no parts of this guy because they know the reality. They will lose elections with Democrats like this. So as a Republican, I say, go ahead and vote for him. Keep running people like this because the things that they talk about might sound good in a 5-second clip, but they have no basis in reality. They simply do not work. And it's going to have more Americans, whether they live in New York or anywhere else in the country, choose the Republican Party, choose common sense, conservative economic principles, because that's been proven over time to be sustainable, efficient, actually more cost effective. They stabilize the cost for the American people. And if the Democrats really want to talk about affordability, if they really want to talk about it, they should join Republicans to unwind the Leviathan of the regulatory state that has raised more costs on more businesses, passed on to more consumers than anything else.
And I will put the onus and the spotlight on people like Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan, because you see smaller financial firms moving to Florida, say Ken Griffin, notably from Chicago to South Florida. However, J.P. Morgan's putting up this giant totem to Dimon down the street from here, but it is abusive what these large banks and financial institutions subject their employees to by making them live here, by making them come to work. And if you want to give your employees real freedom and choice, and you want to attract the best and the brightest, you will pick up your bags and you will move the heck out of here. Congressman, final word.
No, I totally agree with you. I think the American people are looking for governments that get out of their way, that don't create stupid rules, that actually make economic sense over the long term. That's what they really are looking for. This battle in politics now over affordability, let's be very clear, affordability becomes a crisis because Washington overspends, decreasing the purchasing power of the American people, and Democrats, with some of my Republican colleagues, I might add, continue to support terrible regulatory policies that do not allow markets to thrive and to flourish. So to everybody who's trying to make money in this economy, government is what is getting in your way. And so people are looking to states like Florida, like Texas, my friend Chip Roy standing right over there, and Tennessee, because that's the future of America going forward.
Oh, you just opened a can of worms. I'm ready to name some names. Y'all are really nice down there in D.C., but I'll name some Republicans who are part of the problem.
Yeah, I don't think
Next time.
Dagan's afraid to do that. So
Let's be clear. It's not Chip Roy. He's not one of them. Let me be clear on that one. I want to make sure I put that out there for everybody.
He's a fighter, like you, Congressman Byron Donalds.
And maybe governor one day.
Yeah, I know.
Huh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So, yeah. He got a whole bunch of policies that have no real sustainability. I think he's just talking out here. We're gonna get into one more.
The vote.
Yeah, we're gonna get into one more video. This is it's crazy. We got Mr. Al Sharpton that is out here representing this man, going hard for this man. That Al Sharpton. We're gonna just watch the video.
Zohran Mamdani not resting following his decisive primary victory. He's back on the campaign trail. The Democratic mayoral candidate rallying in Harlem today, speaking at a National Action Network event alongside Reverend Al Sharpton. Fox 5's Meredith Gorman has his message about making our city more affordable.
Zohran Mamdani went to Harlem on Saturday to speak at a National Action Network rally just days after he declared victory in New York City's Democratic primary race over former Governor Andrew Cuomo. The results from that ranked choice voting will be finalized in the coming days.
But what we have seen in the last 2 weeks is a hunger from New Yorkers to move beyond the days of museums and relics and make this city a living, breathing testament to what is possible.
Mamdani was joined on stage by Reverend Al Sharpton and spoke to the crowd, receiving a standing ovation by rally-goers who included filmmaker Spike Lee. Mamdani again vowed
his
to
mama.
help the working people if he's...
It's crazy how Spike Lee...
You didn't just hear what I said. It didn't click for you. Spike Lee is a film producer, a filmmaker. I said he knows his mama.
Oh, yeah, his mom is a film producer.
elected mayor.
We have seen the working people of this city weep. Weep at the cost of housing. Weep at the cost of childcare. At the cost of groceries. Weep even for the $2.90 for that Metro card. Though it may not seem like much, one in...
$2.90
Man, hold on. They need to bring it down to $1.25.
I mean, when it was like $1,
that's what I'm
75 cents. You can come in there with some quarters.
Bring it
New
down.
Yorkers cannot even afford that.
In November's election, Mayor Eric Adams plans to run for re-election as an independent candidate. Curtis Sliwa is running as a Republican, and Cuomo could still run. A deadline on Friday for Cuomo to drop out of the race passed. And despite losing to some of the city's most predominantly black neighborhoods in the primary, Mamdani gave hope to those at the rally during his visit.
It gave me a lot of hope because I live in Section 8, and Section 8, when I work in nursing, when you work in nursing in Section 8, because I retire, it's still expensive. It's still expensive in New York City. So I would like affordable rent, and that is what he's for. I would like to see our children do better.
If you're talking about helping the people, this is what the people need, because you're dealing with a situation, circumstance where people's living conditions is very adverse in general to what's going on, and the city is not livable.
Mamdani and Sharpton had a closed-door meeting at the end of the rally before emerging afterwards.
Frank and candid conversation.
Meredith Gorman, Fox 5 News.
I'm going to tell you this. Anybody who Al Sharpton endorses, I don't trust. Anybody who stands with Al Sharpton, I don't trust. Al Sharpton, I don't trust. And now Spike Lee.
No, I don't
trust.
I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust any of these politicians because at the end of the day, are they working for us? You said what? DeAndre.
Let's every capitalist society has failed. Fact.
Can you name them for us? The fall of Rome, anybody? Yeah, there was a lot of falls, but every socialist country or communist country, it's not prevailing the way that we think it should.
We need a government that protects the people from the greed of man. Go on, hey.
All right. Well, DeAndre had wrote something 2 weeks ago. Cuomo was at a Al Sharpton rally, and he was capping for him. Now he is capping for Mamdani. Al just wanted to be on the winning team. Al Sharpton.
It don't matter what you believe. He just wants to be at the forefront of winning.
He hops. Hey, that's the new face. I got to get with it. And they know that Al was with him, you know. Yeah.
Goodness gracious. The middle class made up the shortfall. We paid more in taxes, but we're less of the money subsidized. Say, you can complain all day.
Welfare. Because so there wasn't supposed to be a middle class, but because of what happened after the Great Depression, people started leaving because they had to sell their farms and everything. People were growing their own food, having their own animals, but then the Depression comes, and so then you have to start working. The middle class starts working, and then they have to come into the city. So then that's when, the middle class is like the cushion, right? So that's what it is. And so what I would say, people are trying to get back to, hey, let's grow our own food and let's grow our own things. But that's kind of hard too when, but then you don't blame the person that I would put the blame on would be FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt. He put a lot of these programs into existence. And so, I mean, it's one huge mess. I do understand that, but I still don't believe that Mamdani is the dude for New York.
At the end of the day. And I don't blame anyone for my shortcomings. Only person in my way is me.
So they're not complaining. It's facts. I mean,
hey.
Yep.
What you gonna do about it?
I think for me, we should, you were talking about big corporations, you're talking about government. If you have an idea, if you see that there is a problem, how does the community fix it, right? That's that thing about community. You don't have to rely
on the government.
If you know that maybe the community and you have connections, or this is your dream to build a grocery store, then hey, then you could do that and make it affordable and have the Honey Nut Cheerios and all that. You don't, but.
And we're saying these things. These things didn't just happen,
right?
These things have been happening
over time. Mm-hmm.
So times change,
and like I said, people are trying to find a solution. But we're going to end here. But the solution is not socialism. It's not democratic socialism.
At the end of the day, there's a bunch of problems in this country.
Yeah.
Every country has these problems. I don't think socialism or communism is the solution to anyone's problem. I think if you want something, you go out there and get it. I don't think you should be worried about who got what or when they got it or how they got it. I think you should be waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror and making a choice to say, hey, I'm going to do the
right
thing.
Or we can come together, and how do we make the thing work? Because if all of us are saying the government isn't doing anything. Well, the government is doing something, but it's not working really in favor of the people, right? So instead of relying on them to do the right thing, and we know the thing that we want, why can't we come together? That's all.
So I, as a small business owner, should prop up my community versus the $1 trillion corporation.
Yes, because the small business owner is beneficial to your community.
You are the top 1% too.
Not all business owners.
I'm gonna
small
tell you
business
this,
owners.
most small businesses ain't doing nothing out here. They don't contribute to anything. They barely making it. Is no profit in most small businesses.
Because those $1 trillion corporations have moved out of the like.
They're not in the community.
And then the community, if we look at Walmart, but if you have yes, I say a small business owner, yeah, because that's what was happening. I hate to go back, but that was happening in communities. There was a small grocer before big corporations came in. You had the small grocer, and that's where you went and shopped. Excuse me, but yeah, that we're thinking big when it should be, community.
We need to think a little smaller.
Yeah, but anyhow.
Once again, research how much jobs paid in the 80s versus now. Even Walmart paid well.
Yeah, but we're not in the 80s.
This is not the 80s.
We're in 2025, so things
change.
Things are changing, and I'm not saying that it's a better change. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, things were better in the 80s. Things were better in the 90s. Things were better.
None of these things just didn't happen. It was a progressive deal. So we saw these things happening. So it was no surprise.
So then if people saw these things happening, I don't know what age group you're in, but so now we have the people who are, this my age group, and then there's children coming after who are saying, well, they chilling kinda. But now who do people blame? They blame the boomers, right? The boomers didn't do this because they're
every generation blamed the generation before, prior. So, like we say, at the end of the day, we don't think socialism, communism is the solution to any problem in the United States.
Yeah, that's it.
So, with that being said, Mamdani is not a good choice, in our opinion. And we've just watched a bunch of opinions, and you can create your own opinion, form your own opinion. But that's how we feel about it. And
thanks for all of your comments.
I sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Say, it ain't no hard feelings. We appreciate you, Butch Queen.
Yeah, thank you.
That passing laws that put us slavery. Huh? With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Thank you to everyone who showed up. We appreciate everything. If you don't know, you can check out our subscriptions. Join our community, man. We're building a community over here of people, faith, family, education. We all about that. So if you fall in line with those values, make sure y'all tune in with us, check in with us, tap in with us. And we appreciate it. And like always, it's love, peace, and soul.
Bye.
Like Soul Train, baby.